How do you sustain a marriage?
I think with the way my relationship is right now, I'm not happy. I'm sort of now working on myself inside.
Virtual reality.
Hi, I'm Danny Murphy.
And I'm Caroline Blair in for Evan.
And Caroline, I am so excited that you are here while Evan is still like honeymooning, living his best life, because while he might not know it, Bravo is still dominating the entire week.
Oh my God, I literally love it. I love that BravoCon happened. It feels like 6 months ago, but literally like over a week, only a week ago. And it's like, oh, like that's all old news. Now we have a million new things to cover. I swear, like Bravo does not sleep.
Oh, Bravo does not sleep. And Kyle is not sleeping on these trolls, Kyle Richards, because she is really not into the whole concept that her and Mo are having these struggles for ratings purposes. And I mean, like, that was kind of like right when it came out, a lot of people were thinking they wanted to have their own Scandival moment. But I feel anybody watching Beverly Hills currently, that aggravation in her eyes does not look scripted to me.
Especially, I feel like when she first addressed this, I thought it was crazy that she was even addressing this, to be honest, because like most logical people would maybe see this as like, whoa, like exactly what Kyle said, like they're 4 daughters, you know, they're in the public, they have to even announce this. And so when she was like, you know, getting emotional, even denying it, I was shocked that she was even giving these trolls the time of day. But I mean, especially for people watching this season of Beverly Hills, because every episode, like even the one we see tonight, Kyle is so emotional.
I think a lot of it has to do with us having a harder year. Is expected more from him, from what I was going through.
Has she and Mo even had a conversation where there haven't been tears or her talking about it?
No, not at all. And then also the FaceTime where he didn't even go on cam in Vegas. And then when he's like, love you, and she just hangs up and goes, oops. But cut to towards the end of the episode, she says, I love you to the dogs. So I'm just going to put that out there. I interpreted that the way I did, but I am glad. I feel like Alex Baskin's new podcast is going to be giving us a lot of tea, because that's where Kyle kind of talked about this. So very curious what continues on there. I hope he interviews, I don't know, Crystal maybe, or Olivia, because like you said, BravoCon is still rippling through. Crystal kind of stepped herself into a little bit of a mess when she was saying that RHONY ladies of old and new were rude to her when she was on E! News, and Olivia took some issue with that, apparently.
Yeah, it was really interesting because, you know, we've started this new season of Beverly Hills. I feel like all the women are still kind of getting their feet wet so far. And, you know, Crystal, we just haven't seen a ton of her yet. You know, a lot, you know, she's obviously on the group trip in Vegas and all that, but for the most part, she hasn't really been in headlines over the last few months. And then all of a sudden, I mean, you know this better than everyone, but Miss BravoCon is like igniting feuds with RHONY, Olivia, Jeff Lewis. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, Olivia called her. So yeah, so like you said, she, you know, Crystal mysteriously, at least she, okay, honestly, at least she said which franchise.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, like I at least give her some props for that, because sometimes I feel like there's nothing worse than when they're like, that Bravo celebrity was really rude, or remember even like, this is so petty, but like the whole like Giselle, Robin, Amanda Batula thing, like just because she wasn't wearing shoes, all of a sudden that literally took a year to squash that beef. Yes. So at least I appreciate her for saying that. But yeah, then Miss Olivia Flowers from Southern Charm just bluntly commented, you know, I thought she was rude. So,
I thought she, and it is that hard thing too, because it's like a lot of people are running all around. Maybe not everybody knows each other. So there could be some issues with that. So I don't know. And Crystal also lost her voice. So maybe she wasn't as talkative to Olivia, which could be. But I'm also curious. I want to know from Crystal, because I could see lovingly the OG RHONY ladies having a strong personality. I don't know if any of the new RHONY ladies I could see being rude to Crystal.
We know I was dying in like some of the comment sections on this page, and it was just like, it was literally the new RHONY fans just like commenting like which like their favorite new RHONY lady. It was like, or like comments, and then like you could tell like who they didn't like, who they did like. It was hilarious. It was like the Jessel stands are like Aaron, and then the Aaron stands are like Jessel or Sai or whatever. It was so funny. But yeah, I don't really know. You've chatted with so many of the new RHONY ladies, and they all really seem
they're all
great.
angels. I mean, they're all a fun time. And I know talking to them at BravoCon, all of them were just like, we're excited to be here. Like, you know what I mean? So that's why I was confused that any of them were like feeling a type of way. I want Chris and Olivia to maybe have a sit down type of thing. But it's funny because, of course, all those Bravo celebrity personalities getting all together, people have strong energies. And and you mix icons with icons, stuff goes down. And jumping into Miami, I know Alexia said the Beverly Hills, it's funny, when she was like, the Beverly Hills ladies have a little attitude, not Erica, not Garcelle, not Sutton, not Crystal. So that did leave Kyle and Dorit. So I do love our Miami ladies for continuously bringing the heat.
Oh yeah, I love they, especially Alexia, now that I think about it, she does get herself involved in quite a few other franchise feuds.
Because the Teresa stuff with Melissa, and it's like she speaks from her heart, and her heart loves a little mess, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what, did you see too, that people after BravoCon, when they were landing, like Alexia and Adriana got into like a screaming match in the airport, which I'm like, where was the camera there?
Crazy. It's like, of all, it's hilarious too, because I know you could speak to this, but I feel like every single person that either came to Vegas or left Vegas was on a flight with at 90% BravoCon people, but half Bravo celebrities on their flight. So I'm like, I need, like you said, I needed footage. I needed all the tea, all the information. I mean, we got a little bit about it, but still, I'm like, gosh, those Miami's ladies just don't sleep.
They don't sleep. And maybe that was the issue because it was like 3 days straight of not sleeping. So maybe they're all just very tired. That's why I'm shocked they had the energy to feud. But there's something about Adriana. She always knows how to set Alexia off. Like, they're really good button pushers to one another, which is like fun to watch, but gets very intense sometimes.
Yes, very, very messy, which is, like you said, fun. But then sometimes I'm like, I do get a little anxious watching them sometimes. I'm like, okay, let's not take it too far.
And speaking of, I don't know if I felt anxious, secondhand embarrassment, confusion, or just like, what the actual F is going on. When Guerdy was revealing, she kind of took time, like revealing to the late. Well, she was going to be revealing to all the ladies, she thought, one at a time or so, about her cancer diagnosis. And then when she was sharing it with Larsa, and Larsa immediately was like, how do you know that? And how was I supposed to know that?
It was like she literally went into the lunch so prepared with the agenda of getting, your exclusive cleared about why, but getting it cleared about why Guerdy called her fake. And one thing that struck me is I feel like throughout the lunch, or at least the parts we saw, is that, there was clearly something on Guerdy's mind. She was very emotional. Even she wasn't even, like, she even said, she's like, she's like, that doesn't matter. Like, that's not a big of a deal. And then I feel like when Larsa went in with this agenda, as soon as, Guerdy said this, she was like, like, how do I switch?
Exactly. And also when she was like, let's just not cry. Let's just not cry. And it's like, that's not what, no, we're going to cry, baby. Spoiler, also, you can't like set dictated rules about what can go down at a luncheon.
Yeah. It went from like, how do you know, to like, I'll be there for you, to, making a few promises Larsa perhaps did not keep at all.
I think it took her all but 3 to 6 hours to break a promise.
I went to meet with Guerdy, and I wanted to understand what I ever did for her to go public and say I was being fake. And before I know it, she's like, I have breast cancer.
What?
Oh yeah, God bless Bravo editing, because the first thing, literally 6 hours, literally just 6 hours later,
Yes.
It was like, oh God, buckle up. Also within like the first 10 minutes of the episode, like, God bless. But yeah, that was really, really hard to watch.
And she's doubling down on, because a lot of people, when they saw that preview, they're like, Larsa, Guerdy told you not to tell anybody. And Larsa's taking that and doubling down on sharing the news.
Yeah, she commented under a preview clip, and was just basically like, I've been nothing but a good friend to Guerdy, and kind of drew it back to that whole fake thing. She was like, like, I texted her after that, kind of insinuating that like maybe like Guerdy owes her something almost. I don't know. It was a really, really strange to double down on. And I'm curious to see if Guerdy reacts that publicly anyways, because she's posted some shady Instagram stories from other people, but I'm really curious to see how she responds to it now that everyone's going to kind of see, or if she's just going to be like, this is who Larsa is apparently.
That's true. She might just kind of be, and I know she just rang the bell that she was cancer free. So I feel she's kind of just like, maybe I don't give a shit about Larsa now. Maybe she's just like busy celebrating and kind of just letting the story of the episodes speak for itself, because it kind of is hard to watch those and not be like, oh, Guerdy, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I'm excited for the rest of Miami too, because I'm like, you know, which one of these ladies is going to be the first to tell Guerdy?
Oh, it's gonna be countdown is on probably the next episode or two. But it's that true thing where it's like, you know, Larsa probably thinks there's both sides and the truth. She probably thinks the truth is also her side. But speaking of some truth coming out, you got yourself quite the exclusive scoop about a little Summer Not So Loving House.
Yes. So everyone, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure all of the Bravoverse is dying to see how this Lindsay, Hubbard, Carl, Radke breakup plays out on Summer House, because, you know, one of the first things that came out, it was literally like they broke up, that called off the engagement, and it was filmed for the camera. And Lindsay kind of went on a press tour, which, you know, as she should, get her word out. You know, the season hasn't come yet. She can talk about what she feels, all that fun stuff. But in a few of her interviews, she first said that, you know, Carl straight up called the producers to film their breakup, because the breakup happened on Wednesday, and 3 days before on Sunday, filming had wrapped. But I heard from sources, yes, that really what happened is that, yeah, technically they had finished wrapping on that Sunday, but the producers kind of texted Carl, Lindsay in a group chat a few days later, Tuesday night.
Group chat, okay.
Yes, a group chat between the two of them. And we're like, listen, like we want to close the gap. We want to figure out what's kind of going on, show the viewers, you know, the full perspective, because what was supposed to happen next was that they were going to pick up cameras to film their November wedding.
Oh, so they kind of wanted to have it be a lovely continuation.
Exactly, because Sunday they got into this huge fight. And then Tuesday they were like, let's film this, let's fix this before, you know, they go from this huge fight to a wedding. It makes
okay, so that makes sense. Bravo kind of was letting them know, where your source said to be like, hey, I think we want to wrap this up a little bit more positively because you guys love each other, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I heard. And I also heard that nobody knew what was going to happen that Wednesday when they went into filming. Like they weren't sure if it was going to come to a resolution or maybe pause things, whatever. Nobody knew. And I heard that even like Carl had no idea when he was going in what was going to happen. Ooh. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to play out whenever. I feel like they've said January before that it comes out. I don't know, but I'm dying to see, because I just feel like a lot. I mean, so many people, Craig Conover, Paige DeSorbo, even Carl and Lindsay have said like, oh, it'll play out in the season. So I'm like, I need the season. And
also it's funny, both Carl and Lindsay are saying it'll play out, but they're both now on opposing teams. So y'all think, who do you think is going to play out what?
I know, right? Because I am so interested to see, because, you know, Lindsay claims that, you know, she was blindsided, while Carl, you know, has denied that and said, well, like, I think you'll see, like, maybe she wasn't blindsided and things like that. So I don't know. I'm hearing lots of interesting things about, you know, those two in the season. And like they've said, I'm ready to see it play out.
Oh, I am so ready to see it play out. And I don't know if they're going to both have their Scandival moment, in the sense that they're both going to go on a bunch of different competition shows from this, like how Ariana's in Dance with the Stars, Tom is on Masked Singer, and Special Forces. I can actually see both of them thriving on Special Forces, maybe different seasons. But speaking of Special Forces, you got a little funny, because you do love that show, which I love. I love your love of the show.
Obsessed with that show. Mark my words. I think it will be the next big show that all celebrities want to go on. I swear.
I mean, I could see it really happening, but you got to chat with Kelly Rizzo, right? Who's on the show and just seems like an amazing person.
Yes, she was such a sweetheart. She came into our Page Six offices last week, and we just talked about everything Special Forces, which, you know, for those who may not be familiar, they take a bunch of celebrities and work with these ex-Special Force people to really put them through rigorous tests. And the only way you get out is if you voluntarily withdraw. So it's very intense. It's not for, you know, people that are afraid of heights or anything like that. But yeah, so I talked to Kelly Rizzo about all things Special Forces. She also really opened up to me about her late husband, Bob Saget. The 2-year anniversary of his death is coming up, and how she's honoring his legacy there, as well as giving a little bit of advice to the Friends cast, who, you know, is going through. I mean, she said she can't help but see like parallels between the two
grieving so
because if you
publicly.
think about it, yeah, exactly. She said that they even shared a sound stage back in the day, the Friends and the Full House cast, which is so crazy. So yeah, it was a wonderful chat, and I'm excited for everyone to hear.
It's so interesting because there are such parallels between the two. I mean, they share the same soundstage, for Christ's sakes, you know. I mean, like Full House and Friends. And I actually just heard that Matthew Perry, that he and Bob had like the same dressing room on the same soundstage. So that's possible. I'm sure somebody back in the day at Warner Brothers or whatever can confirm that. But I'm sure that they're really going through it right now because the Full House cast did the same. Like, they were really a family, and the Friends cast, from what I know, was like really, really, truly a family as well. And, you know, me being kind of on the, you know, part of it but not part of it because I was a family member, it was really special to witness everybody really coming together. And the fact that, you know, oh, it's Full House cast or Friends cast, like that all goes away, and it's just your family members are in the room together. And I can only imagine that they're all comforting each other and there for each other. And I know that that's what helped get me through it, and what helped get all the rest, you know, John and Candace and Joe, like the fact that we were all there together was so helpful. I mean, the day Bob passed away, the first people that were at my house, it was Candace and then John and Jody and Lori. Like, they were the first people there, and they were so tremendous in helping me get through it. And I'm assuming it's the same with them. And I would just say that, you know, hold on to each other tight and be appreciative of the fact that you have such amazing people that you're surrounded by. And for me, when I lost Bob, and I've said this before, that what was so helpful to me was being around Bob people. I was more comforted by being around somebody who I like didn't know at all but had known Bob for 30 years than somebody who was my best friend of 30 years who didn't know Bob at all.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's the same, you know, in that situation as well, that they're just, you know, people who have known each other for that long and who knew the person who passed away very well. Like, that's how we were comforted.